This is the Transform with Travel podcast. I'm Kelly Tolliday, your host, and I'm so happy you're here with me today. After having traveled to 45 countries and living across 4 different continents, it's my mission to inspire you to live life to its fullest, travel with an open mind and heart, and let the world show you a new perspective. Here at the pod, we believe that travel has the power to transform your life. So we bring on everyday adventurers to share their stories, as well as industry experts to help you optimize and enhance your travels, transforming us from tourists to travelers with each and every episode. So buckle up, because we are about to take off. Hi everyone, how are you doing today? I am extra excited this week because I just got back from a little staycation in South Florida to celebrate my birthday. And I'm just feeling super refreshed and grateful to live where I live near the sunny coast of Florida. Sometimes we just need a little perspective shift to realize that there is beauty all around us, and we don't always need to fly across the world to get that travel fix. But anyways, to today's episode, I am super stoked. This episode is brought to you by Anatomie, my favorite luxury travel clothing brand. That's Anatomie. And I have the founders of Anatomie on the pod with me today, discussing all things entrepreneurship and business, and truly how having a traveler's mindset can help you succeed in life. Kate and Shawn are truly a dynamic duo, and I love getting to spend time with them. So I hope you enjoy as much as I do. Be sure to check out anatomie.com. Again, that's ANATOMIE.com, and make sure to use Rising20 at checkout for 20% off your order. Trust me, your travel outfits can use an upgrade like this. I have seen such a difference in just my overall confidence when I'm traveling, when I'm wearing my Anatomie clothing. So be sure to use Rising20 at checkout and upgrade your wardrobe for the fall. Super exciting. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Transform with Travel podcast. I'm your host, Kelly Tolliday. I am also the co-founder of R&R, leading epic retreats and adventures since 2017. We're recording here at Child & Company based in Boca Raton, Florida. Quick shout out to the amazing team here. Joe is just helping us get set up. We love recording here. So I don't know about you, but something I've always grappled with as a traveler is how to dress comfortably for travel, but also look stylish. And not just the trend of the day stylish, but a classic, evergreen, never go out of style stylish. So I was stoked to be introduced to the brand Anatomie by a dear friend of the podcast, Romy Wallach. She was featured in episode 33. A few months ago, she reached out to me and said she met this epic female founder of a luxury travel clothing brand and thought we would get along really well. A few emails later, and bam, I was in Miami at the Anatomie HQ with Kate Boyer and her husband and business partner, Shawn Boyer, who founded Anatomie together back in 2006. I fell in love with their passion for travel, sustainability, and how fashion can transform and elevate your adventures. Our brands have now partnered together for our Portugal retreat, offering guests a VIP shopping experience amongst other perks. And I am just so excited to be sharing their story of entrepreneurship, travel, and what to look out for in the fashion world for fall 2024. So thank you, Kate and Shawn, for joining me today.
Thank you for having us.
So excited. So I'd love to just hear a little bit about like your design background and kind of what brought you to falling in love with the fashion industry and how that all started. I'll let one of you guys go for it.
Ladies first.
Ladies first. Actually, mine was more of a survival story as I left my country as a former gymnast and teaching fitness to little girls while I was studying in France to finish my MBA. It's kind of how I launched the clothing line because we had to make clothing for ourselves to travel, train, and compete, as well as to sell them to pay for, everything you need to do as a student outside of your country. So it was more about a necessity and functionality and a practical solution that was missing in my life for something that was durable and easy care and low maintenance. So I think I have this deep heritage, not only of understanding stretch fabrics and tailoring and high-quality products, but also using them for a long time in a way where they don't wear out. And if I fast forward us to today at Anatomie with our lifetime warranty, I'm really proud of what we have accomplished as a family, as a company, creating something that you believe in, that you love, that you've used for so long for yourself as well. So my business went from Europe to the Caribbean to Miami and landing here meeting Shawn, where he was doing menswear. His true passion and background is really design. Mine was just business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I love when you said like it came out of a necessity, because I think a lot of some of the greatest inventions, businesses, brands came out of solving your own personal problems. And so I love that was like how that all started for you. And you, Shawn, you have a background in design.
Yeah, and it goes back to the same points as necessity, because I was a competitive bodybuilder and I love fashion. Like going back even early on, I got the best dressed, in high school. And it's funny because I lived in a farming community, but I was from the city, so it was different. I went from Cleveland to a rural county, Carroll County, which is by West Virginia, because my family had horses. But anyway, I liked dressing. But the thing is, I started working out when I was 11 years old, and it was fine when I was a teenager. But once I got into high school, I was really heavy into bodybuilding, and then into college, I could not find stuff that fit correctly. So it would be if it fit my neck and my chest, it would be giant on the bottom. And what's the sense in having a six pack if you are like you're wearing a tent around all the time? So I started, my great grandmother had passed away, and she had a sewing machine. So I took that sewing machine back to my college campus room, and I taught myself how to like taper my shirts and taper my pants on the waist. And then I started saying, well, if I could taper it, I might as well make some stuff. So I taught myself how to sew. And then there was a lady at the dry cleaners that was helping me, like she was doing alterations, but I started cutting and sewing pants and shirts and jackets. So that was my first company, was menswear. And I started that in college, and I actually quit school because I had 6 people working for me at the time, and there's no point. And, I was ready. Yeah, I was just ready to do my own thing. I've been an entrepreneur my whole life. So not such a good employee. Good partner, but not employee.
I was just listening to a podcast of a woman who runs, I think it's called the Degree-Free something, but it's talking about like you don't need a degree for absolutely everything. And as you're like, wait, I'm already running this business. Like, why am I going to do 3 more years and more debt?
I had a conversation with the dean because I'm a dyslexic, so my grade point was like 1.7. But the dean, I spoke to him for an hour and a half. He's like, listen, I've been here for 20 years. And he goes, you get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to work out with weights. You have 6 employees. You're making more money than your teachers. He goes, I would deny it if you tell anybody. He said, but you know what? You're not normal. Go follow your passion. Don't sit here. Not everybody's made for college. And being dyslexic, you have accelerated social skills. I have a photographic memory, so I remember everybody's face. So, this is a social aspect of selling and being out there, not afraid of bodybuilding. You're on stage with a Speedo on, so you can't be that shy.
And it's so interesting. I was just talking to a friend about dyslexia, which is like kind of going off on a tangent here, but we're talking about it, instead of saying it's like a learning disability or a difference, like you're just like viewing the world in a completely different way, which gives you an advantage in many different aspects of life.
And I know we're going to talk about technology later on, but this is the first time where this particular mindset or your way of thinking, picture thinking or divergent thinking is actually so tied into artificial intelligence. So this actually gives you a superpower. So like we're saying, like a degree, well, the world's changed, education is going to change. And so the people with these different, styles of learning like dyslexia are going to have a competitive advantage because they're going to understand this technology so much faster than everybody else.
And so speaking of non-traditional, unconventional path to success, you were talking, Kate, about you moved from Hungary to France and then France to the Caribbean to Miami.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about just what brought you to all those different places? What was the mindset of, okay, yes, I'll go, I'll do it, and how you landed in Miami and met Shawn, and the rest is history?
I think when you're young and free, you kind of follow your heart, and I've always done that. Not so much planning and thinking and strategizing, when you're 18.
Yeah, of course.
You want to do what you want to do. And, back in those days, Eastern Europe was very different. Now it's this romantic, charming destination with very authentic people and foods and cultures. But in our childhood, it was, I think the word is oppressive. That's how we felt. So we just wanted to get out. And the neighboring countries were still very similar. So we went as far as we could, which was France or Spain for many of us. And from south of France, where I finished my studies, my MBA in Montpellier, I saw a TV program about St. Bart's. And I was like, look at those big yachts and those rich people. Like, this is a dreamy place. Let's go. And me and my friends bought a one-way plane ticket. The school I was finishing actually let us do the last semester over there.
Oh, wow.
So because France has 4 islands, the French West Indies, Guadeloupe, Martinique, Saint Martin, and Saint Bart's. They are like
amazing.
key winter destinations now for ships and a lot of affluent people. But I just fell in love with the islands. We were free and happy, and I was selling clothes from one island to another. And that's how I met American tourists who were saying, Kate, look, your line is it's more tailored, it's high-end. There's nothing like this in America. You have to come and try. So we chased down the trade shows in Vegas and New York. And Miami was kind of like a transiting city where I met Shawn, who was working with my business partner at the time. And I saw him on a computer doing menswear. I was like, he's cute and talented. So there comes another love story, right? And we basically combined forces. So I had an up and running business for over 5 years when I met Shawn. So private label designs for a few years allowed us to fund our own dream, which was Anatomie. And we trademarked the brand in 2006. And started selling around the U.S. after having looked up the 200 wealthiest zip codes in the United States. Because we both felt, French and Italian, very innovative, high-end fabrications, and our tailoring belongs in front of an audience who has the lifestyle to appreciate it, who can afford the price points, because we were never cheap. We always wanted to be high quality, durable, but still affordable in a way. So we really went after a target audience that was very specific. We were like heat-seeking missiles. Golf shop, resorts, country clubs, private studios, anywhere we could find male or females who were frequent flyers, had a sense of adventure, wanted to look good. And we just kind of fit into I always joke, I wanted to be part of their world and their wardrobe and their carry-ons.
I love that.
We had this commonality of people who wanted to be efficient on the road. They didn't want to stand in line or do a lot of dry cleaning and ironing. So we became this go-to wardrobe, and the brand evolved. And I think Shawn and I and the team did a good job listening to what the customer wanted, which, is not how we started off, because you just heard the brand is more athletic, but it really evolved just by giving them what they wanted. So from a baggy pant, remember when they asked us, can you make it into skinny pants? So we did. And then, no, we need golf skirts. Then, Shawn, go design golf skirts. Because luckily I'm married to the person who can design and sew. So we used to do our samples ourselves as well. And
so you started off in athletic, active wear, like leisure wear, that kind of thing. And so then when you started Anatomie, it turned into more of this, what it is now, which is luxury travel. So I'd love to hear that a little bit of evolution.
So that was because we were in front of our customers, and our customers started telling us it was too nice to work out in. Our dream was we were way, way, way ahead of the athleisure. So, way ahead of us. Think back to 2005, 2006. We go to Neiman Marcus, and they're like, well, where's this hang? We're going to do this activewear section, and we're going to have Under Armour. And I'm like, well, you just defeat the purpose. Under Armour and Adidas, bravo. Well, so does Dick's Sporting Goods. Like, our customers were there. They see on Tuesday afternoon a lady walking around with a $50,000 watch and a $100,000 diamond ring, and in good shape, right? But, she can buy that stuff anywhere. So, when we had to do the trunk shows to let our customers know. And the response was, our Fit the Market was, it went without saying. If they would sell $300 in a spa one day, we would sell $8,000, right? So that's a huge difference, right? So that was the good news. The bad news is that the spas just wanted us to come and do events. So that's how we did the 600 events, and that's how we got close to all these opinion leaders and the most dynamic women on planet Earth. And they're the ones that were very consistent, nationwide. They're saying, this is our favorite travel brand. This is what I feel confident in this. It goes great. They were dressing it up more than the gym. And I said, yep, it's better for us to go on these luxury experiences versus sweating in the gym, even though sweating in the gym is a $100 billion industry. But I think that we wanted to be on the tailored side, on the high-end side. And our customers are the one that helped us evolve to this fashion hybrid. So just talk about listening to your customers. This is a perfect example of that.
They told us we are a travel brand. And I said, okay, if it's the case, let's team up with the best of the industry. So we teamed up with the Forbes Travel Guide. We teamed up with NetJets. We started looking up really the trendsetters, the opinion leaders in the luxury travel industry with the Virtuoso Travel Network as well. So we worked really hard, and I'm going to say from 2015, the next 8 years was all about that. Mm-hmm. So we became the first and only apparel brand recognized by the Forbes Travel Guide in the top 50% of Inc. 5000 3 years in a row, one of the most disruptive brands by IAB. So we we were an industry disruptor, and now we have to keep up with the innovation and what's next. But this was definitely the result of being consumer-centric, mindful about how we go to market, what are those touch points for the customers where we are present. So besides the partnerships that reinforced the concept of a luxury travel brand, we also started distributing with them. So today we have about 500 accounts around the U.S. inside those properties. Like yesterday, I was just checking on the Ritz-Carlton in Key Biscayne. We're in the spa boutique. Then in some of the golf shops here and around the U.S. and the specialty boutiques where the designer shoppers can find Anatomie for the weekend and the plane. And then the golf resort spa communities, instead of the traditional gym clothes Shawn was describing, they're able to dress up in comfort and style. It's kind of like getting the best of both worlds, I guess.
Yeah, like you're still utilizing the background in that athletic wear, but just taking it up to the next step. And I think for me personally, like as I mature as a traveler, as I get older and I'm able to afford the nicer hotels and the nicer plane seats, it's like I'm not going to walk in my sweatpants and my oversized T-shirt. Like I want to look nice because I want to feel confident. I want to feel like I deserve to be in this plane seat. I deserve front row. I deserve this type of hotel room. And your clothes really allow you to feel that sense of comfort on a long haul flight, but also looking the part of
confident. That's a lot of times it's ladies say I feel confident in this stuff, and these are not regular ladies. These are ladies that can afford anything that they want on planet Earth. So that's what really makes me proud, because I know where they shop and they tell me, point blank, this is their favorite outfit. It's a testament to it's hard work. This is not an easy business. But as we evolve, because our experience when we're in face-to-face, like doing a trunk show with the ladies that we've met along the way, and our online, we haven't been able to capture that same thing online. So the experience they get when they're in person with us versus online are two different things. But I think that as technology evolves, we're going to have that same shopper experience online. It's going to be a lot more customer focused, and they can sign in, they can have an avatar of their body type, they can have we have stylists that work with them. A lot of ladies like, hey, I'm going on safari, please put together a kit for me, or I'm going to, they'll give us our itinerary, and then we'll help them pack for that trip. So put it all in the packing cubes, and it's more than just, hey, buy our pants or buy our jackets. We want, it's a relationship that we cultivate.
Yeah, and so you mentioned it's not easy, and anyone in an entrepreneurial role will know that. Specifically, entrepreneurs who are spouses as well, and business owners, CEOs, founders in the fashion and travel industry. I'd love to hear a little bit about what are some of those challenges that you guys face together and how you were able to do that together.
Some of it comes down to the team around you, because everybody has strengths and weaknesses. And in an ideal team, people can be the best of themselves. So if you bring out the best of each other, then you're on the right team members. If they bring out the worst of you, something needs to change, either yourself or them, right? There's nowhere else to go. So all that has happened in our 2 decades from every possible way. And, when you think of the ultimate luxury, you just described how you feel confident and free. I think it's a luxury when you can figure this out and land in a good place in life, when you have a balance between the family and your workplace. And at some point, you have to step out and step aside and let others do their magic as well. So there's an evolution from when you start your business and you do so much yourself. So we're kind of at the cusp of that with Anatomie, is what is that ideal management team and back office team and sales team, because we created a monster in a good way, right? We had an omni-channel business that's successful. Our e-commerce is growing. Our wholesale accounts are reordering. Our stylist team is growing. We went from 1 lady to 13 to 35 to 50, 75, 120 this year, and probably more as years go by,
Yeah.
and
we're
even
not
our own
actively,
stores.
Let's I wouldn't say it's word of mouth, but it's just that we call it like lobster growth. You just get to a certain part, and then you have to have a new shell. Like it's it's all these new gears are new people, new philosophy. Every level, there's a different skill sets, right? So
You
there's
have to know when
yeah.
you hit the wall, and you have to see when others hit the wall.
Yeah.
And then what do? You either teach them or teach yourself new skills to kind of step up to the task, or you go do something else, or they go do something else.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with handing the baton off, because maybe $0 to $20 million that's the sweet spot for some people. They love that. They don't like the rest of it. And I talked to people worth hundreds of millions of dollars, say they hated the corporate part. They like the beginning. The first part is where they
Scrappy
feel alive.
part.
Yeah, where they feel alive and adding most value. Their idea of sitting in meetings after meetings after meetings, they hate it. They want to go do business. They want to sell stuff. They want to grow businesses. They don't want to be in the minutia of corporate America.
Yeah,
So
it's
that's
like
one
knowing what your
advice.
zone of genius is that a lot of people
That's
talk about.
I think after all these years, Shawn, maybe the best advice we could give to entrepreneurs listening is go find your superpowers and use them, because
And don't think
everybody
about-
has a couple. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't worry
And don't
about
think
what you
can't
cannot
think
do.
about it, because everybody, there's so many smart people out there, and I just can't figure wow, why didn't this guy ever start his own business? Because they're so much smarter than you feel you are at the time. But it's just a mindset thing. So
You also have to be fearless and very resilient. Like
Yeah.
if you
Oh, yeah.
can't handle being upset, you can't be an entrepreneur,
Oh my God,
because
no.
every day there's something going wrong.
yeah,
But
there's an old Italian guy that
I
worked with
just
me.
thought about him.
Yeah, his name was Emil, and he was a garment guy his whole life, and we'd actually send him to factories to troubleshoot, because he's amazing with people. And I forgot what I was upset about. He's like, listen, if you're gonna be upset about this, you're in the wrong business. He goes, shit goes wrong all the time. He said, from the moment you buy the fabric, to sew it, to get it to your customers, delivery, customs, he said, it's just crazy. He said, but I love it, So that always resonates with me. It's like, this is not the business if you are not used to conflict, So I always remind my team, listen, we're not doing brain surgery on children. We're making a pair of pants, how many pairs did you make?
How
okay.
dramatic.
Oh, we made 150 pairs. Okay, well, we could sell that in our sleep. So let's just move on.
Yeah.
Right? Let's not get stuck. And the thinking of the doing always becomes a non-doing. So let's just get it to market. And that's one thing that's the new theme for us, is that in the beginning, there was no collection. It's like, I would have a great jacket, and then we get it to market and test it. Okay, it's working. They want to change this. Now it's okay, we want to think, there's a meeting. I'm like, listen, I want you guys to stop talking about this jacket. We're going to go to market. Okay. And I don't care. Well, what about are we going to make samples for the sales team? It doesn't matter. I'm going to make this jacket. We're going to make sure it fits good, and we're going to put it out there. In the beginning, there was no website. There was no stores. We would make it and just put it on a rack and start selling it.
Yeah.
And that's the only way you're going to learn how, hey, is it going to work or not?
Yeah.
by the way, the jacket's on my body.
Yeah, right.
There's been a bunch of them.
Classic. And so I feel like I always talk about to be an entrepreneur and to be a traveler, it requires this traveler mindset. Like you mentioned the words fearless and resilient and having the courage and the adaptability. That's what it takes to step out into a new country as well, and just be in the world and be open to what's going to happen. And that's what entrepreneurship is like as well, that ability, especially when you're traveling and something doesn't, like you said, shit goes wrong all the time. The ability to pivot, and that to be able to do that as business owners, as partners, also having a child. We didn't even touch on that. That's a whole nother podcast.
That's a whole other,
the holy grail of balancing all of that.
Yeah, that's a 3-hour podcast
Yeah,
when you involve children.
But I appreciate all of that.
Yeah, so there's the points. Kate is the one that took me to Europe, but there's been times where, there's two examples that come to the top of mind. We were in Rome, and I don't like tourist stuff. So the David is great, the Colosseum is great, but I don't want to be there with a million other people. I don't feel that is really finding the root of it. Now, of course, I've been to the Colosseum and I saw David, but so when we got to Rome one time, I'm at the car rental place. I'm like, hey, you're a local. What's your favorite city around here? He said, I live in Frascati. It's great. I'm like, put it in the GPS. That was it. So we're driving on the countryside. We pull over to tiny little restaurants, and they're amazing. So there's one, we're driving in this old country road, and there's these two plaques on these trees. And I'm like, let's go down here. She's like, we're going to get arrested. I'm like, okay, so we get arrested. I go down there, and it's one of these, it's a castle that they turn into a hotel. And she's like, you have to make reservations. I'm like, really? We go in there. I'm like, hey, do you have room? Yeah, we have one room left. right? So all this, like, you got to push it. And one time we were in the Monte Carlo, and she's like, these people booked this a year in advance. I'm like, okay, so look, we're going to ask. We get to the front desk, and the guy's like, where are you from? I said, we're from Miami. He's like, oh my God, I love Miami. I just came from Miami. I'm like, do you have any rooms? He's like, we're booked, but there's always one. He goes, I got you guys. So you have to just take a chance, because even if it's 50%, that's 50% of things you're going to experience without trying.
We have definitely transformed our lives through adventure. So I know your podcast is transformed with travel. We're like the living proofs of that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
it's not always on the beaten path. Now, I love it when, like, for example, if you go on safari and it's a private safari, then you let your guides, because that's their office. They're there every day. They know where the big lion is. They know where the zebra's going to get the leg tore off. That's cool. But sometimes when you're driving yourself, you got to just try it.
Yeah. And I mean, that's like such good advice just for life as well. Yeah. And so you mentioned the lifetime warranty with your clothes, and that you love being able to offer that because the craftsmanship and the fabrics that you're using and the detail and the design that you're working with is above and beyond what you're going to get at your average, like you said, the average athletic wear or whatever it is. I'd love to touch on a little bit about what makes Anatomie stand out. Like when you were creating Anatomie and deciding, okay, this is a style, these are the fabrics we're going to use, this is the lifetime warranty that we're going to offer. The values that were important to you as a brand and to the consumer played a really big role into that. So I'd love to hear like that thought process of how you were going to stand out as a brand in a very large market, and the differences that Anatomie has in terms of the sustainability, the efficiency in packing. We can talk a bit of the packing cubes, like all of that. I'd love to hear.
Yeah, I think that it's like everything else. You evolve. Brands evolve. So they say it's 20 years to become an overnight success. We're in Miami, and we have ladies that have been in luxury travel their whole life and come into our office like, I've never heard of you. So it's like, you're a luxury travel advisor. You live in our zip code and you've never heard about us before. So that means we have a lot of room for improvement, right? So as far as like bandwidth and people to know about us. So I feel that we definitely, once the world knows, we're definitely going to be in a much larger business, right? But the other thing, so lifetime warranty, for example, it wasn't like, okay, our sustainability is going to be lifetime warranty. What happened is our customers like, hey, these pants are 10 years old. These pants are 10 years. I got pants that are 13 years old.
They look amazing.
We have a lady, and her husband he runs a huge hedge fund. So that means that, she could buy her whole company if she wanted to. And when she came to visit us, she had these pants on, and they were literally 10 years old, and they were white. And she said, I'm so embarrassed. These are like, they're so dirty. She said, but I can't throw them away. I can't. She said, they feel great, and I wear them anywhere. So it's like, she goes, but I'm going to give them to you because once you give them, run it back. But that's a mentality, right? So it's not like, hey, they fit, they're comfortable, and she feels confident in them. But it was those type of conversations like, hey, what do we have to lose? They're already lasting forever, and the people know they last forever. So we were scared when we first put it out there, so we kind of like dipped our toe in it. And then, of course, we get returns. But those returns are literally, I know by the label. We changed the label before our daughter was born, so way more. So, oh yeah, okay, lifetime warranty, these wore out. Yeah, guess what? You wore them twice a week for 10 years. Yeah. It's okay because it's a very small amount, so it's worth the confidence the customer has, right? So reduce risk, build confidence. Like, hey, well, this company stands behind what they put out there. And if anybody has ever, I always tell our customer service team, listen, you don't need to ask me. We want the customers to be happy. It's not about the money, because the money will be there if you build a quality product, right? So you don't have to worry about getting every customer, every dollar. That's the wrong mentality. You need to stand behind your product. So when you replace something, or at least like, hey, my zipper is stuck, well, you send them another one. This is what you do at this price point. That's it. They just want to know that, hey, no matter what, you're going to take care of them. It's pretty simple, right? Concept.
That was always a core value. Our number one was personal connection. The second is beyond expectation. And the third one, speed matters.
Yeah, we're working on a third one. We're working on a third one. This is a tough business to be fast in, but we're working on it.
Well, we ship the same day, all on 9 orders, which is still pretty good in this industry. But I think how do you build that brand and how do you stand out is by identifying those core values that you believe in, that matter to the customer, so they resonate and you stay relevant. And then you create your operating principles in the company accordingly. And not just for the owners and the founders and management, but every single person is a touch point to the customer at the end of the day. So we expected our accountant to be nice on the phone. Our shipping people are helping customers on Saturdays. You guys came, right? So it has to live and breathe throughout the entire organization for the company and the brand to stand out and be memorable for the audience.
I've been to your headquarters in Miami before, and it's your values are front. And so you walk in the door, and it's like, boom, here's our values. Like,
It's
and that's
in
what
every
you want.
office.
Exactly, and that's the kind of touch point and the support that you get, that you feel as a customer, at least from my perspective.
Yeah, and that's why we try to like recruit from hospitality, because hotels do a rigorous training on how to talk to a customer, how to take care of. You never say no. So.
Yeah,
That's
we
very
admire
important.
people always ask, how do you benchmark Anatomy in the fashion industry? And we can't really answer that because we love the travel industry so much. We feel closer to like a Four Seasons or a Ritz-Carlton or a Montage Hotels or Canyon Ranch, or the concept of those where people feel comfortable. They feel put together in their clothes. They feel pampered. They're in a safe place.
They've been working hard their whole life. You talked about, once you get to a certain place, you wanna feel like, hey, listen, I worked my butt off to get here, and if I want to spend a couple $100s on a pair of pants and $500 for a jacket that's going to last forever, then I'm going to do it. That's it. And not even think about it. That's the beauty of it.
But technically, the story does have a factual back end to it, if you don't mind me sharing.
Of course, go ahead.
Our signature fabric is a 4-way stretch microfiber from France, 4th-generation family,
Yeah, they've
because
been
the
around for 100 years. It's a long
great-grandson
time, yeah.
runs the business now. I've known them since 2000. So we've been buying from them our core material. When we notice that our pants are replacing jeans and yoga pants, and the stretch woven pant is your work pant, your travel pant, your mommy pant. It's like the everything pant, right? Then we created 13 pants designed for different body types and started marketing it as such, where it explained if you're an apple shape, a pear shape, a column like myself, or a cello, or I'm missing one, I think. There's
Apple.
5.
Apple.
Yeah. There's 5 shapes, and everybody could buy 2 or 3 pants that fit your body type. Then you get it in black, navy, and white, right? And maybe a fashion color later in the season. You have a full wardrobe with 10 pieces that don't need dry cleaning or ironing, that you can mix and match without thinking too much in the morning when it's chaotic with your kids and the dogs and your husband running around driving you crazy, and you have to get ready for work and life, right? So it just became this stress-free moment where other people stress about, but I feel like with our wardrobe, that eliminates all that. So you're saving time, money, energy doing your travels. You don't have to stand in line to check a bag. You don't have to stand in line when you land. So you become like this efficient, smart traveler, and you can focus on the landscapes and enjoy the food and your friends and family and your loved ones instead of, oh my God, my shirt is wrinkled, or because not everything's wrinkle-free. So it's like we take out the stress from packing and dressing at the same time.
We can touch on that a little bit, expand on that a little bit more, because you mentioned, in the morning when you got the dogs and the kids and then the husband, and but it's the same thing when you're traveling. Like, we got to wake up at 4 a.m. and get to the Taj Mahal. Like, we want to throw these clothes on and go. And I can personally attest. I traveled with the Suzette skirt and also this top as well. And I was able to roll it up in the little travel packing cubes that you guys have, which are incredible. Can you explain like what fits in your travel packing cube and how that's revolutionizing not needing to check a bag anymore?
So I like to roll up 2 pants, 2 tops, and a jacket. So that's 5 pieces that usually lasts me like a trade show. So like a long weekend, 2-3 nights day, I can totally handle it. And I use another packing cube for socks and underwear, and then another one for workout clothes. And that's 3, so it's usually under 10 pounds. I mean, we've been to Africa 2 weeks with a carry-on, all over Europe. We did the world yacht events from Vietnam to Hong Kong with a carry-on. Like, I just refuse to check a bag. Like,
yeah, you said it's like your personal family philosophy. You're not allowed to check a bag.
Listen, my daughter was 3 years old. She was already rolling up her little clothes to have a carry-on. Then we make her carry her own carry-on since she can walk, right? It's just better.
Yeah,
there's only so much I can handle.
The only place it's hard is where it's really cold, and we don't make a lot of, we make some puffers that are like maybe 1 or 2, a vest or puffer, but when you have ski clothes, that's tough.
That's a different story.
Boots,
yeah, that's a different trip.
Then you just put those in a UPS box and send them there and then send it back.
But our Cozy Essentials
the Cozy Essentials,
came
right, but
as
still.
well. It evolved. So people love their lightweight signature fabric so much, they were asking Kate and Shawn, what can I get for the winter, right? So we have a double brush fleece capsule for the fall. You mentioned earlier to talk a little bit about fall fashion. So the same minimalistic way, black and navy, it's a double brushed Italian fleece, amazing fabric that's soft on the inside, but kind of silky and nylon-y on the outside, so it's resistant. And basically 3 body types for pants, and then the same jacket that's our signature with the big pockets in the fleece.
Yeah,
It's
we have
a
a
perfect
wide leg.
layer.
We have a wide leg, and then we have a blazer. We just introduced in the same, so that looks really cool. The blazer and the wide leg
Simple.
pants, or it's really transformable fashion.
Yeah. And then the last piece I would like to, you mentioned just briefly as well, was the type of fabric that you get from France as well. How do you think that for your clients who are, obviously you have raving fans who are coming back over and over and over again, have pants from 10 years ago.
Right.
How do you think that makes such a difference in this current American market of just buy the Amazon $20 dupe
We
or
see that.
go to the...
Yeah, we see it. I think there's a consumer for everything. And, our customers, they go to, what's the word I'm looking for? The Costco, you know what I mean? So I know that they buy like Lululemon, I know that, but we're different. So we always say that we're in between Prada Sport and Lululemon. So in the middle. So it's not like designer fashion that looks great, but you don't want to be traveling. I mean, Prada is one of my favorite brands. And the last time I was in Italy, I saw the beautiful pair of pants, but they're made out of re-nylon. Well, that's like wearing around like a trash bag. It's so hot and sticky, and it doesn't stretch. So I don't know. Like you'd have to be in one place and you couldn't really move in it. I mean, it looks great, but there's no functionality to it. So
right. Functionality is important.
Yeah, and like I said, Prada's one of my absolute favorite brands. So it's like functionality. It's like these people, are on the move. Like a lot of them they worked hard, they built wealth, and their only job is they want to live as long as they can. So they're eating right, they're working out, and what's the point of doing all that if your clothes fit ill or it's not really matching your lifestyle? So what is the new modern day uniform that we're trying to perfect? And back to sustainability, and we love all things French and Italian, but the world has evolved. Right, so there's always an evolution in the world. So adopt or die. So why I'm saying this is there's some new fabrics coming out of Japan and Taiwan that are just really state of the art. Because what happens when you're the best in the world at something, you think you're the best in the world at something, you don't change fast enough, right? So we see like there's a sense of entitlement. So like, hey, we're the best in the world. Like I got invited to a wool factory in Italy with the CEO that found our brand. He was in Vale Village. And he found our brand, and he was talking to the guy in Italian. He's Italian, Luca Bruno in Vale. And he's like, what is this? These people are going crazy over this brand. It's like, yeah, they're friends of mine from Miami. So he reached out to me and he invited me to his, and they sell 2 million yards of wool a year. And it's a famous brand. I don't want to really get into it, but it's a famous brand. He said, what do you think? I said, well, I'm from Miami. You can't pay me to wear wool. It itches and it's so hot and I need breathability. And he looked at me and I'm like, oh my God, I just offended this guy. He's like, I know. I told my father, he just like, we can't, like, there's wool derivatives, they're where they mix wool and fibers. But the point is, when we think we're so good, if you're not adopting, you're dying, right? Adopt or die, is that the same thing is never a constant. So there's going to be new fabrications. And as the head of product development, I want the best one. I don't care where, I'm not so stuck on where it's from. I just want it to be the best in category of that fabric, and I want it to translate to all my styles and translate to our lifeline warranty, our sustainability, the functionality, all those things. Because there's fabrics that they have, for example, they add zinc, right, which is good for our body, right? So zinc is good for your body. There's antibacterial technologies now. And I don't like the ones that they wash on because those are chemicals that wash off. So I'm always looking for things that they actually put in the fibers. That's something that can't wash out, it will be the same. So I think there's going to be some exciting technology as far as fabrications coming out, textile innovation. Clothing business has been very antiquated for a very long time. So I think that it needed some disruption. And this year, the economy is tough. So it's definitely only the stronger going to survive.
Yeah. And I appreciate the sentiment of also, like you said, you're not so concerned about exactly like which country, like we're only sticking with one country, and it kind of lends itself to this traveler's mindset of being open to, okay, well, let's see what the world has to offer us here. Right. We've mentioned the term adopt or die. This is an inside story when I first met Shawn and Kate, where he was showing me his mood boards and design boards and how he uses AI. And I told him a story how my dad used to always say in tech and sales, adapt or die, adapt or die, adapt or die. Like if you don't adapt to what's happening, especially in technology, especially as an aging in the industry man in sales, he's like, I have to constantly learn what's happening. And then now we say that together all the time.
That's our inside joke, top secret
exactly.
joke. But that's the best advice for entrepreneurs, adapt or die. It's not going to be the same.
Exactly.
And what worked last year, who cares? It doesn't matter.
You mentioned perhaps a shift in evolution of fabrics, but in terms of this concept of adapt or die, how is Anatomie adapting in this ever-changing and growing industry that is fashion and travel?
Well, the distribution channels changed dramatically during and after COVID, right? If you cannot build a strong digital presence, it's probably not even worth starting a company, to be honest, these days, right? It's just so much speed is expected in terms of the response to the usability of your website or your app and how fast you get the product, how is it packaged. The expectations have changed. There's definitely a wardrobe change. Shawn mentioned, wool or other type of suits that people were wearing. They're just simply not selling anymore because people are not wearing them anymore.
But I want to preface that there are super wools now where they're blending. So actually, I think it's Icebreakers that does a really good wool that's breathable. And actually, you can wear it in the summer. It's a special wool. It's not like the short. It's got to be very long so it doesn't poke you an itch and break you out in hives. Like I have scarves that will break my neck out when I travel, right? So I got to be very careful. But but like I said, as technology keeps evolving, there will be a super wool. So I'm not saying that wool is great, but I'm just saying they'll have to do it a lot differently. Where before Hugo Boss would sell 1 million pairs of wool pants a year. Now they can't give them away. So
some of the changes are at the product level, some of the changes are at the go-to-market level, and some of the changes are at the workplace on what people expect as you hire the new generation of young, smart kids were at work, right? They expect to, the company to be more socially responsible. They expect more time off. They expect more times working from home. Like you have to be...
It's a new hybrid.
Yeah, it's like, I don't even know what's it called these days, but you have to really have an open mindset, almost like a traveler, because you have to expect the diversity of your team a lot more. If you're able to get the best talent from around the world, because where you are located doesn't matter anymore, then you might as well have somebody from 8 hours away who comes from a completely different culture delivering the best result for your company.
Yep, absolutely.
So you have to be open-minded to the accent or, what they wear and what they eat. It doesn't matter anymore.
It's bad news, good news. So the bad news is there's something special. I was talking to a young guy that's got some really state-of-the-art technology. And I'm like, hey, are you outsourcing everything? He's in Austin, Texas. He's like, our core team is inside because we're all together. We're coding. We're bouncing ideas off. So there's some of that's going to be missed from people working remotely. I think that's where you mix people and ideas simultaneously. But, there's some things that if you got the best in the world at something and they happen to live in a different time zone, but it's just so easy for them and they love that's going to come through. Like that passion translates all the way through the business. And you're talking about like evolution or adopt or die. Well, the whole world is going digital, right? So as we're talking about artificial intelligence on so many different levels, whether it be longevity, travel. I mean, there's not anything on planet Earth that is not going to be affected by technology in the very near future. So the world's changed. But when I say it's going digital, so for a fashion brand or clothing company, so what's that mean to us? That means that if we don't start right now becoming more of a technology company than a fashion company. So I don't want to be a fashion company that uses technology. I want to be a technology company that sells fashion. And why do I feel that's so important? Is because we're talking about sustainability, giving customers what they want. And to do that, you have to have the data. So real-time feedback from your customers. So instead of me like, hey, I think purple is a great color this year and I made 500 purple jackets. I want to let my customers say, I don't want purple, I want green. And when, 7,000 ladies say, forget purple, we're going to go with green, then I'm going to say, okay, this is what I'm thinking about for green. Well, I only want these jackets and these pants in that green. So there's no guessing. The customer gets what they want. They're engaged. So we have a personal connection. So they're basically driving the product development. It's like what they want. So why try to dictate to these ladies when you just have to listen and execute? That's the way of the future.
Yeah, and it goes back to that value of sustainability as well, because if you're knowing exactly what these ladies want, you're not going to go create
Sample a bunch of
all
things.
these samples, create a bunch of waste of things that might not sell. And so now it's like hitting all your different value touch points.
Right. And we an assumption, so we assume. So like I had a conversation with another young guy in technology, just raised $30 million. And he had a clothing company, and all the pain points he had with selling, cutting, and like running it, he developed an entire technology, and he's the third fastest growing technology company in America right now. The pain points. But he said, I wouldn't even cut an item until I had 400 pieces order. I'm like, 400 pieces ordered. That's amazing. I go, I don't know if my customers would wait. He goes, they'll wait. He goes, they waited 4 to 6 months. I'm like, but my customers are different than your customers. Like, because I'm assuming, hey, they want immediate gratification. But if it's different, like, hey, we don't want to waste time. We don't want to waste money. And we want to only make things that are sustainable. Would you wait? Because the truth is, ladies, they don't need anything. You don't need another shirt or another pair of pants. You could go without buying a garment for 3 years right now. I mean, I could go 5 years, maybe even longer.
Yeah, you have
I don't want to.
closet.
Wait. There's different. I don't want to.
See, there's a secret of working together. Let your husband have the bigger part of the closet.
No, I don't want to go. But the point is, so if we can convince them that, hey, this is going to be really dialed in, for sustainability, getting exactly what you want, but you're going to wait 6 to 8 weeks, that's a whole different business. Yeah, and I love it.
The customer has the power today. People are educated. There's a million platforms where you can compare brands and performance of brands and testimonials from other customers. So you just have to accept it that the power is not on the designer side at all.
Yeah.
Like we can't dictate.
And the other people, when they say, what is your biggest asset? I say our customer base. But I've never been able to, of course they buy our clothes. But to harness the wants and to really, really let them weigh in and tell you what they want. Because we were doing it on the small level. They were telling us at trunk shows. So when they come to the office, this is what I want. Check it out. I love the way this thing fits, all those things. But now we're going to take it. So how do you it's okay if you do that with 10,000 people, but how do you do it with 1 million? So that's the trick. How do we do it with 1 million people? Get them engaged. And not only they help you with product development, they're also going to be your best brand ambassador. They're going to be investors, right? So maybe 100%. They're going to invest, they are going to invest because you're listening to them and they're telling their friends and their friends are buying more. So there's a whole new ecosystem coming.
Yeah, you have buy-in already if they're already. And that's what we do a lot with our retreats and our travel is we'll go to people and say, hey, 2025, like we're thinking, I remember when it was 2023, but it was the year prior, so 2022. We were doing all our planning, and we were like, "Hey guys, we're thinking about northern Spain," and they're like, "Yeah, that's cool, okay." And then my business partner was like, "I'm just gonna throw out Greece and just see." And we said, "Okay, what about Greece?" And there was like, "Take my credit card, please. We want to go to Greece." So we're like, "Okay, cool." That's the power of just getting your community involved and seeing what they want. Because although maybe northern Spain might be what we wanted, it was obviously a winner for Greece. So
when you get the data, so we're going back to digitizing and getting the data. So the truth of the data. So the surveys that we do, like a normal survey, they have a 1.5 participation engagement. Ours were 8.
Wow.
Okay, so that means they want to help. They want to be engaged. That's 8. It's 8 times more. So, but it goes back to your question. It's like, why guess? When all you have to do is present it.
I think it also shows people are looking for something they can't find from other brands. And that's where they're telling you what to do because you're listening.
Yeah, and they want to have relationships with brands, especially when their values align with the brand's values as well, too. So I think that is a really great way to kind of wrap up the episode. But I would love to give you guys some space to talk about fall 2024, right? This episode's launching in August. We've got about 4 or 5 months left of the year. Where are we traveling to? Where are you guys seeing as people who are passionate about travel and in the industry? Where are the hot spots for fall/winter 2024, as well as what are we wearing? Like what's happening? What should we be looking for in terms of the trends and the styles?
So one thing at a time. So destinations first, right? We've noticed that a lot of our customers are going to Europe later to avoid the crowds. Ooh. So instead of being there June, July, August, they are coming to us now saying, oh, I have my trip booked for September, October, November, which is a really nice time. I'm born and raised in Budapest, Hungary. So Eastern Europe in October is magical. It's not too hot, not too cold. There's no people. Kids are in school. It's great. And it's the same dynamic around March and April. So
like the shoulder seasons.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. A lot of our clients are in Africa now. Some on some cruise ships.
Yeah, cruise
around.
is big, right? Yeah.
I'm going to say Western Europe. We hear a lot. You guys just went to Portugal. There's definitely more remote destinations are taking the places of the usual Saint-Tropez and Mykonos trips. So I feel like people want more authentic experiences. Some of it is related to boutique hotels, and some of it is related even inside the cruise industry. We see a proliferation, is that the right word, right, of smaller luxury yachts. One of our favorites was Sea Dream.
Even though it's an older boat, it's beautiful. And the people, like, so...
They're smaller ships, and then the Ritz-Carlton yacht team has done an incredible job building the...
Avrima highly it's a Ritz-Carlton on the water, and then now they have Irma, which is they're so beautiful. And, you think about... I don't particularly like giant cruise ships. I don't do that because it's just too many people for me. Just like I don't like tourist traps. But when we got onto Avrima, it was I think there were 300 people. But you might see a couple like maybe once because there's 5 floors, 5 or 6 different restaurants. There's a lot of space, so it really does feel intimate, even though it's bigger, right? So those boats, I mean, they're the best in class. Like Sea Dream's got the best in class for like 40 rooms, and Avrima's right up there with the best in class. But one thing that you don't get from the marketing materials, because it's always going to be the bigger, better, or the more luxurious or the more expensive. But one thing that you never hear about is that the people that you meet on board, you become lifelong friends, and then they're amazing people. And they're from all over the world. So it's a like-minded set of luxury traveler that have businesses that, we've built lifelong friendships from every cruise. Yeah. It's great.
And we were happy to see them go around Central America or go to South America a little more, like more unusual destinations. People are looking for the best-kept secrets in everything they do, whether it's a wardrobe or the pan that you take on your trip or your destination or the local flavor.
Yeah.
Right?
And I think one of the words that you used, Shawn, was intimate. And I think that's kind of going back to everything we've been talking about is that one-to-one customer relationship with the business, that one-to-one local interaction with somebody from the culture that you're visiting, having that connection with that intimate group of people on the ship, or we hear that a lot with retreats is you have a like-minded group of people who say yes to a certain retreat. So you automatically have this sense of we're kind of all in the same boat here. We've said yes to the same experience. So there's some sort of aligned values there.
And we have so sometimes I'll do they want workshops, right? So they want creative ways because they're testing, right? So we had a cocoa and cashmere party. So they have a famous French chef, and he's got a recipe for hot chocolate. And we had cashmere, but we're on a boat in the middle of summer. It's hot, so but they create and everybody shows up.
Wow.
So you're drinking hot chocolate with Baileys, and it was delicious, right? But I'm standing there selling cashmere to the president of LATAM Airlines, and his sisters run all of the trains in Peru. And his brother's a famous lawyer, and then just the list goes on and on. Then the guy says, I sell tires. Yeah, but he's the largest distributor of aviation tires in the world. So, and you talk about business. So when I do I had a design presentation, and it turned into a business workshop of everybody, 6 or 7 people show up, and they're all titans of industry. So they're we started in our basement. We started now. We're the largest trophy company on planet Earth. They do the Oscars and the Emmys, and so it turns into a seminar. And then these are business contacts that you have for the rest of your life. It's great.
You learn a lot along the way. That one way to transform your life with travel is to go see. The other one is to go experience, and I think a third one is to go connect at a different level. And you have to disconnect to connect in a way.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's that's this concept of kind of a lot of the European countries of slow living, and it's in business sometimes where it's just fast, connections, networking events, how many business cards, blah, blah, but it's these one-on-one, one deep, meaningful conversation can make.
I have the classic story
change the
of
trajectory.
That. So I was in Italy, and I went to get a cup of coffee, and I was trying to tell I was in the mafia capital. Yeah. So anyway, I'm like, hey, I'd like a takeaway. So there's a little guy next to me. And he says, excuse me, where are you from? I said, I'm from Miami. He's like, what's your name? I said, my name is Shawn. He said, okay, listen, Shawn, we don't do that here. You know? So what you're going to do, yeah, little guy, but I mean, powerful, right? He said, sit down. We're going to have a cup of coffee and we're going to drink it like two gentlemen. We're not going to rush away. We're not taking away. We're not running away. We're going to sit here like two civilized men and we're going to have a conversation. I was like, wow, okay, like I got it. You know, so what's the hurry, right? What's the hurry? And this guy was obviously way more important than I was, right? So it was a good lesson.
I love that.
Right?
Yeah, that's like everything that we try to teach while we're traveling too. Is like how to just slow down in this our American where's the check?
Hamster wheel.
Yeah, exactly.
Rinse, lather, repeat.
Exactly.
Rinse, lather, repeat.
So you mentioned more intimate, authentic, off the beaten path places. So for you personally, what's on your bucket list for fall 2024, or where are you planning to go?
We had a hostile takeover of our travel itinerary for fall because our little girl, she loves hobby farms.
Oh, okay.
So she's basically demanded that we go to Connecticut to, there's a place over there called the 100 Acre Ranch, and they have longhorn cows and horses and miniature horses and chickens and pigs, but they have like a potbelly pig. It's in the house, for crying out loud, and dogs, and she loves that. So that's what we're going to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Intimate, authentic, unique.
Well, you know, when your daughter tells you that she wants horses, I'm like, well, they poop a lot, so I'm putting her in a summer camp to clean the horse barns. See how we feel after that.
I love that. So when I was a junior in college, I majored in public relations, and I wanted to go to New York. I wanted to go to, of course, it's the Mecca. Right. I'm going to go to New York, and I grew up in South Florida my whole life. So my dad was like, okay, you can go to New York, but you're going to go to New York your junior year of college in February for a week. Right. And I got back from that. I'm like, I'm not going to New York.
It's freezing.
I had way too many layers. I was freezing. I slipped. I was like, I'm not going to New York. So I love that. Great parenting skill.
Right.
And so in terms of fashion, what are you seeing coming up for the fall 2024? I know that's totally destination dependent, but what are some of the trends that you're seeing in terms of fashion and how you're...
Well, I mean, I know we're doing really well. We do the Hamptons Classic Horse Show. That's kind of our kickoff for the winter. So we're mixing. So what's... Like we have some puffers that we mix sweater knits with puffers. I don't know if you saw them because you were going to a hot destination, but
no, I saw them. The puffer,
yeah.
And
the sweaters, you know, we have some sweaters where we're mixing wovens with knits, so like sweater textures. And
people want to do more with less. So the commonality I found is that when your item is multi-season and multi-purpose, and your wear occasions are multiple, then the value for the money is greater when you're purchasing something $200-$300. So the commonality is definitely
transitional. Wear it all year round.
Yeah.
They don't want it to last just the trend of the season. But we're still selling a lot of wide leg pants, which I can't wear because I got a little chicken legs. But they are very popular and everybody loves them. So Shawn did a nice job designing more options around that for one more season.
Awesome.
So it's definitely still happening.
Yeah. And the cozy. For winter, the cozy is always best. And like we do leather combinations, leather with
I'm excited about the perforated leather jacket. It's a repeat of a successful style.
Oh, cool.
And then our cozy, thicker leggings, he's bringing them back with little leather trims, just to make it more interesting. But that's about it. We don't go too out of the box of anatomy because, you know, when you have your Kleenex, you wanted to use it as a Kleenex. I feel like anatomy is that go-to wardrobe that you can rely on and depend on and trust. So we cannot take a 360-degree turn in design because the customer will be confused. Yeah. We've done that and lost some money and lost some interest. So we have to bring it back home with our core messaging and stay true to the DNA.
Stay in front of your customer.
Well, it's easy to get distracted or like by the shiny objects you know.
Especially with so many channels of distribution, golf and resort, and it's a lot. So we're figuring out the formula. You know, that's it. It's all about, you know, you can't worry about making mistakes because you're going to make mistakes. Just try to make those mistakes cheap and fast and learn from them. Yeah. That's it.
And what you mentioned about commonality and functionality is one of the jackets that I bought, and then my business partner bought, and then two other of the retreat guests from Portugal bought, because it's lightweight that you could wear it in Florida, like on a night out, even in the summer, but it also kept us warm, you know, when it was 50 degrees in Portugal at night. So it was Portugal. That's like exactly what you guys were talking about. And I could roll it up in my little backpack back, stick it in really tight, and it was perfect. So I end all these episodes with rapid fire questions where I'm going to ask you both 3 questions, and then we can
Do
share.
we have to answer at the same time? Just
No.
to see if we say the same thing? Is it one of those?
No, that would be the test of a real relationship there. Okay, number 1, what country or place has left the biggest impact on you?
Mine, Tanzania, St. Bart's, Costa Rica.
Ooh, love it.
I'm a diehard Italian fan, so Lake Como, Italy is my favorite. Life-changing experiences, definitely safaris. The Great Migration. I mean, that's just unprecedented. And wow, there's just so many great places. I guess St. Bart's. Yeah, St. Bart's has something about the beauty, the luxury, the horsepower, all of it, one little tiny island in the middle of nowhere with just so much amazing stuff going on there.
Yeah, I'm so excited. So my husband and I are going to do South Africa next July. So I'm already I'm going to go to Anatomy before, get kitted out, the whole thing.
We got you covered.
Okay, number 2 is, and I think I know your answer to this question. What is your go-to travel accessory? Like, what do you have to have when you're packing for travel?
Well, I don't go anywhere without the packing cubes.
I knew it. I was like, that's going to be her answer.
I was thinking, what is even an accessory? Because I don't wear belts. I don't wear jewelry. I don't really pack makeup when we travel because it's like just extra weight. So, yeah.
I mean, if accessory, so if it's
or
not,
like a must-have item.
So I always have a battery backup because when I'm exploring, I like to take a lot of pictures of clothing and ideas, so I always run my battery down. So I always have like an anchor, a 3 charger pack, and then lightweight backpack. I roll that back up a pack and I put it in my back pocket. In the start of the day, I'm walking around, and then eventually by the end of the day, it's full, and my phone is always charging.
Yeah, that's true. The Anatomy nylon backpack that we made for some of our partners as well, the hotels
purchase,
and
but
the
it's really now we're starting to get spottings around the world.
No, it was amazing because you guys gifted that for our Portugal retreat guests as well as being partners with R&R, and every single person wore it on the hike. We took a 12-mile hike on the coast of Portugal, and you just see all of our pictures, everyone walking in a row. But it was perfect because you could just roll it up, stick it in your luggage, and it fits so much more than you'd expect it to.
So we're doing some hybrids. So we're doing like a backpack / packing cube. So like it's really going to be functional. I
love that.
And we have a crossbody bag that I'm working on, and it's like different, like I said, packing cubes, backpack. So it goes into your suitcase, but you can pull it out. And then like a dirty clothes, like we're working on, because a lot of people are asking for more accessories. Even the yacht companies, like cool technical tote bags that roll up into nothing. Like, so all like like James Bond kit.
I love that. And then the last one is, what's your biggest life lesson that you've learned while traveling?
You can't argue 100 feet at a shipwreck with your spouse when you're diving. When he wants to go right, he thinks the boat's on the right, and I know it's on the left. There's some
really
situation.
Specific.
Yes, it really marked me. At some point, it's not worth fighting for. So we ended up running out of air because we went the wrong way. So sometimes you just gotta like agree to a plan and do a boat check, meaning like check where you are, how much water, food, money you got left, where you are. But the plan is the rest of the trip, because we were down there deep, and I wish I had a camera to film that argument where you can't talk.
You can't talk. I know. I've been in arguments underwater with my husband before, and it's just like your eyes are just like getting bigger and bigger.
Well, it's the people just don't. The current is so strong.
Yeah.
So if you're not doing boat checks, like a lot. So.
But seriously, if you're traveling with kids, try to see the trip through their eyes, because it's really magical.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And I think the boat check is kind of like symbolic of just like just doing like a general like check, like what's the pulse of our life right now. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, okay. Like, is there really the person you want to be diving with? Who are you taking on the trip?
I love it. You?
I say back to like, I don't like tourist traps. I like to do the authentic local stuff off the beaten path. So of course you can't always do that because it could be dangerous if you don't know what you're doing. But I think if you're in a safe country, then do what the locals do. Go into somebody's house for dinner versus the restaurants. That's what I love about the Italians, all these little places, and get lost. Yeah, get lost. Have fun.
And we're Anatomy doing it.
That's it. Be comfortable and stylish at the same time. That's right.
So how can people connect with you online if they're like, oh my gosh, they're amazing, I want to say hi?
So download our app, Anatomy Style. It's a really cool experience to see anatomy.com in a faster way. Our Instagram is Anatomy Style as well.
And just reach out. I'm Shawn at Anatomy, and you could call the office, SHAWN at anatomy.com, and
Our stylist team is always happy to help.
If there's
So
somebody in a
find
different
us
part of
in
the country, we
person.
always have somebody close by that gets a stylist or maybe a store. Or we love people to come to our office. We love
Our
to come see
pop-up
it.
is open in Aspen, and you just mentioned Luca Bruno in Vail. He's such an iconic partner for over a decade.
Store in Palm Beach. We have a store in Palm
Beach.
by the Breakers.
Store inside the Carillon Hotel when you're staying on Miami Beach. Try to find us in one of our locations, Montage Palmetto Bluff, the Canyon Ranch Properties, Scottsdale in Arizona, the Four Seasons.
Four Seasons, Arizona's got an
has
in-store.
our flagship retail store. Try to find us, our headquarters by appointment.
Yep.
Website's good. We have an AI-enabled size modeling chart system to find your perfect fit. That helps.
Awesome.
But many ways to connect with us.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story, for
Happy to
taking
be
the
here.
time
Thank
to
you so
be
much for
here.
having us.
And
thank
we've
you
got
so much.
lots of things coming up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Transform with Travel podcast. Don't forget to hit subscribe so you never miss an episode of inspiration, adventure, and exploration. If you felt inspired by this episode, please rate and review in whatever streaming app you're listening from. This allows us to spread the word even more and continue to serve up weekly doses of adventure. As always, we'd love if you could share the episode with someone in your life who you think will benefit from this conversation. Thanks so much for listening. This is your reminder to get out there and keep on exploring.